Hi everyone, my name is Zemis and welcome back to the Desiertalks. On this episode, I'm joined here by...
Hi, my name is Nevaeh. I am Teen Miss Texas Earth and your Teen Miss Earth USA Fire, as well as a local model here in El Paso, Texas.
See, already right off the bat, that's like a huge title to boast about. Why don't we jump right into that? Tell me what Teen Miss Texas Earth is all about.
Well, the Earth system is all about obviously taking care of our Earth, all of the sustainability, and just being able to present that through our beauty queens and be able to share that word on how we can protect our Earth.
And how did that get started? Because I mean, I've done a few episodes with a few different models by this point, and they've talked about things like Miss Texas, Miss Universe, stuff like that. So how does this fit
Right.
in the pageant scene?
So, a lot of the systems focus on certain things, such as the American system is a scholarship system where beauty queens will be able to showcase their talents, have their own platform, and advocate for what they believe in, as well as earning scholarships throughout the way. So, the Earth system is one specifically focused on our Earth. So, everyone's platforms, all the delegates, all the beauty queens, have something one way or another focused on the Earth, whether it's sustainability, whether it's fast fashion, anything like that. And it's something that makes a huge difference because we are all focused on one general area where we can make such a big difference with all of the delegates and queens.
Oh wow. Okay, so see, right off the bat, that's already pretty interesting. And from my understanding of the pageant scene, like there's a whole like interview process that goes into it. Like what is it that like you're
Right.
kind of talking about when it comes to like these environmental issues?
So for me personally, my platform is based off mental health as well as our environment.
Hmm.
So my it's called Space to Mind, where it's the space around you, which you how you take care of it, the way you perform in that space will directly reflect on your mindset or your mental health.
What made you want to go with that mental health angle to your pageants and like the platform that you're trying to talk about?
As I was growing up, I had struggled with mental health severely, and I have two disabled parents where at 8 years old I had to grow up a little faster than most to help take care of them. And I had two younger brothers at the time who were 5 and 2,
Hmm.
which they needed a lot of support getting to school, feeding, any type of stuff. Any support I could give for my parents, I was doing. And so it did, as I grow up, took a mental health toll on me. And I want to make sure that I spread that no matter what you are going through, the environment you surround yourself, it will directly reflect upon you. For example, for me, I went into martial arts. So, and no matter all the stresses that were going on into my life, I was able to do something for myself and be able to really just let myself go and be who I was, get any frustrations, anything like that out on the mat. So I do jujitsu, judo, MMA, and it's been life-changing, really.
Oh, I mean, that's a very inspiring story for sure. And the reason why it makes me laugh is because I do remember during our first photo shoot when we met, like you told me that you do know how to throw hands, and you gave me that long list too,
Oh,
and I was like, oh, whoa, like it's just kind of crazy. Like not something that I would expect from a model, let alone one that's like doing the whole
yeah.
pageant scene.
I like to say I live a little bit of a double life because I'll be doing the modeling and the pageants during the day, but then once 4 o'clock hits, I go to the dojo and I teach, I train every day throughout the
Oh wow, you
week.
teach there too.
Yes, I do teach. I've taught since I was 14.
Oh, that's crazy.
So it's been an experience.
Yeah, no, definitely sounds like that. With you doing the whole pageant scene and everything, on your bio it also said published model. What was your first time getting published like, and what was
Yes.
it for?
It was for Dreamy magazine. It was such a small magazine at the time where it was really just models showcasing their work. But to me, it had been really a stepping stone, especially because I've only been modeling for 2 years.
Hmm.
So I had gotten published a year into my modeling, and it was very a clarification, really, because at that time I had been very just kind of down, I guess you could say,
Right.
and very discouraged. But once I had seen that something of mine had gotten chosen, it was definitely a booster and definitely a sign that I should keep going. And then after that, I had been in local magazines like the Meet Me Here magazine and several others like that.
And when you say that you were kind of like, that it was a morale booster for you, modeling in life. Like, what was your
Right.
first feeling yourself? Let's say just kind of dipping your toes in the water. What were your emotions like then?
So I had started modeling after my first ever pageant at 18 years old. It was for Miss Teen El Paso, excuse me. But after that, I had been riding such a high because it was my first ever pageant. I had gotten second place, and it was such a surreal experience because I had never thought I would be in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I was kind of riding that high of, oh my gosh, I'm on top of the world. I got best in activewear. It was amazing. And just slowly, as I started seeing the modeling world, I had gotten photo shoot for the first few weeks, and then it kind of declined for a little bit, came back up. It was very back and forth. And I feel like with that back and forth, I almost got a little discouraged because I wasn't riding that high anymore, I had to find something else. I had to work my way through it to be able to really feel comfortable in this scene.
I get you. And one key thing that you pointed out right now is that you said that you started modeling after your first pageant, which I think is pretty fascinating because
Right.
usually it'd be the other way around. So how did that come about? Like, who told you to do a pageant without like the modeling beforehand? How did that happen?
I had actually gotten reached out to on Instagram by Bazaar Models. Little did I know that they would become such a huge part of my life. And my now pageant coach, she had reached out to me saying that I had a great look. She wanted to meet with me. And when we had met, she actually she was a pageant queen. So her whole thing after we had interviewed and right off the bat, she loved my story and wanted me to get into pageants.
Mhm.
So I really just jumped headfirst into pageant world before I even got to experience any type of photo shoots, modeling, runway, anything like that. So it was super interesting to be able to see a different side of all of this rather than being jumped into the runway without really having a clue of what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, to me, like, that is just so crazy. And especially the fact that they're the ones that reached out to you first on, I'm assuming, Instagram, right?
Right.
And what was that like? Like, did they give a reason why they picked you? Like, was it just like random chance or?
They had seen my story. So I have posted a lot about my martial arts and what's important to me on Instagram, meaning my family, martial arts, mental health. And they had seen that and saw my look and they were like, hey, you might be great at pageants. Like, let's do an interview and see how you speak.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was able to kind of keep up, then they were able to just throw me right in and were super excited to have me. Even though I hadn't won that first pageant, everyone was very supportive. They all gave me the interview lessons. They all gave me runway walk tips. And it made it such a great experience that's when I jumped into the modeling world because it felt like very welcoming.
And who did you start working with when you first jumped into the modeling world here? Like, the photography scene, I know, is pretty big. I kind of had like a wake-up call the other day when I realized, like, whoa, a lot of the photographers that I knew when I first started, like, they're not really around anymore. There's a lot of new faces.
Right.
So, you being a model that I met pretty recently, last year, what was it like for you starting off modeling here?
Well, starting off, I did start freelance. So although Bazaar has helped me exponentially and they continue to help me to this day, I'm not actually signed model with them. I'm a signed pageant queen, but not a signed model.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done a lot of freelance work. A lot of photographers had reached out to me at first, and that's where I kind of got my start in building my portfolio. And once I built that portfolio, it was a lot easier to get asked for jobs and paid opportunities, whether it's a little bit of acting or modeling, runway. I've kind of dipped my feet into each.
Yeah.
And so it's been super interesting because I feel like the networking is kind of what got me to where I am. I didn't have to really apply a lot to a lot of jobs, whereas the networking of, oh, hey, this photographer that you just met and shot with is looking for a model for this opportunity. Stuff like that.
And see, the acting thing is pretty fascinating to me. Like, what have you acted in? Is it just like commercials?
Just little
Um,
commercials, nothing insane. I'm not a huge actor myself, but I can put on a little performance. My
good
brother
to
is
know.
in
Good to
theater,
know.
so my brother's in theaters, so every time he comes home and wants to practice on his scripts or anything, I'm his go-to. So I have a little bit of that kind of experience, but I'm not a huge actor, really. I'm more for a couple words, maybe just a laugh in the background type of acting.
What's been like one commercial that like you've done that really stuck in your mind?
I believe it was an actual a clothing brand who I'm an ambassador for now. It was a little Instagram commercial and it was so fun to just so fun to film really because it had been based off Mean Girls.
Uh huh.
At the time it was when the movie had come out,
Yeah, the most recent one.
the second movie. Right. It was very funny and we kind of did the whole phone call in the scene from the original, but based off that clothing brand. So it was a very interesting take, but it was a lot of fun to film.
And you know, it sounds like you get to do a lot of fun stuff outside of just the pageantry stuff. Because one post that I want to bring up on your profile is that you're doing like an Audi fashion show, right?
Right,
Yeah,
yes.
tell me a little bit about that.
So I had been modeling, I think, 4 months, I believe. So not too long. The only runway experience I actually had at that time was from pageantry. So I had really little to none actual runway experience. And I went to this casting for Audi, which very surprisingly I got picked as a model. And I was so excited. It was my first fashion show and it was with, although it was Audi El Paso,
Hmm.
it was still, I mean, it's Audi, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I had a model last episode talk about her doing an Audi fashion show. So, you know, it's very interesting, especially like with you. I say this with like, you know, with kindness, being new to the scene, not having that kind of experience yet, already
Right.
getting these
It
opportunities.
was it was amazing because again, little things like that were able to be like, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe if I put in just a little bit more work, then this could happen. It was it's what kind of made me realize that the modeling scene is a give and take. You're not always going to be 100% booked every single weekend, but you'll have those highs when every now and then that month is fully booked.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that goes both ways. Also, like as a photographer myself, you know,
Right.
like there's been weeks where, especially during the Valentine's season, where I was drained, you know, because I was like at a studio for like 8 hours. I would do like six
Exactly.
shoots. Now it's kind of like a little low period for me too. But you know, like how you said, it's a give and take for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like with doing the of El Paso Fashion Week, it was something that made me realize, okay, I'm 4 months off the pageant. I haven't really had a lot of runway experience, but because I've been working on my walk, I was able to get this opportunity.
Hmm.
So it made me realize, okay, I can work on something I want. It'll come to me. Whenever it is, I don't know because I'm not in control of that. But as long as I keep working at it, it'll be something that will eventually happen.
No, yeah, totally. And you know, again, I keep going back to like you saying like, oh, you know, I don't have the experience, but I got these opportunities. In your own opinion, like, why do you think that is? Why do you think that you had such like a good career model-wise already, with all of your highs and achievements that you reached, even though like you're just starting out? Like, what do you think that is?
I honestly don't know, more of because I feel like as long as I put my best foot forward, whatever I put out there, I will attract,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Big on
So the people
manifesting.
right. So if I am putting myself out there, if I'm networking and making sure that I meet the right people, then in that way, no matter if it's big or small, it could be a free collab photo shoot, but I will be able to meet someone else who in the future may very well be able to help me in whatever I need as well. So, like I said earlier, I believe it's a give and take, and I believe networking is such a big part of the modeling industry just because you never know who you're going to meet, especially when I did the most recent pageant for Miss Texas USA.
Hmm.
I had met so many people I would have never have met otherwise in Houston, where they had offered me runway coaching, interview coaching, because they saw that on the stage I put my best foot forward and I shined through that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I believe, yeah, it's the same thing with the modeling industry.
And see, it's nice hearing that you're very like pro networking, pro community as well, because I feel like that's kind of like the backbone of any community, honestly, especially here in El
Yeah,
Paso, which is kind of interesting to bring up because recently, we lost a big support in the community, like El Paso Creatives. Like I don't know what's going on with that page right now, but
right. I don't
they're
know.
like MIA. I don't know. But there hasn't been any like big community photography model events, as far as I'm aware of, in the scene.
Right.
So, with all the networking that you do, has there ever been like an instance where networking went kind of wrong? Did you ever have like a sour experience with it? Or have you been like blessed the entire time to just kind of be smooth sailing?
I mean, not every networking experience has been positive, but I also believe that I wouldn't say it was negative either, because although maybe it had made a turn for something I didn't expect, it was it was a learning experience for me. And I mean, not everything is going to go my way. I'm sure, yes, I have all these achievements in the modeling industry, but there's also been times where I feel on the lower scale of things as well.
In what way?
So, more of like, there's some photographers I have met that had agreed to paid jobs and maybe had just didn't follow up on their end, which is definitely a learning experience for me just because stuff like that had taught me, okay, well, if it is a paid job, make sure you're gonna get paid for that beforehand. Or if
Hmm.
it's a collab, make sure you know all the details beforehand. And I feel like that's something that I came into very naive about just because I had learned very quickly in the modeling world, if that makes sense. I got jumped in and didn't look back.
Oh no, I mean I think that's
So,
understandable for sure. I mean when I first started
right,
out, a big part of me making connections was like reaching out to different photographers on Instagram, being like, hey, like, can I work with you? Can I learn from you? Stuff like that. And
right,
not a lot of those photographers were behind the scenes great people. There was a lot of like, them being called
right.
out or there was drama, stuff like that. So I completely understand. It's very it's easy to be naive, especially when you kind of come in with like rose tinted glasses. But it's just one of those things where like you just kind of like learn as you go, for sure.
Yeah, and I believe that now the people that I'm surrounding myself with have pretty much been positive, and I believe that's because of the things I learned, which is why I don't say those experiences are necessarily negative,
Hmm.
just because now I have a community. I know which photographers I'm willing to work with, and I'm more than willing to meet more, but in the right areas in the right way.
Well, yeah, you carry yourself more professional, I bet.
Right.
And so, you mentioned how there's been instances where like photographers like don't go through with their promises or you don't end up getting paid. What do you do in those situations? I mean, it's already a pretty awkward situation to be in. Do you reach out to them or do you just kind
Yes,
of take the
I'll
L?
definitely reach out, but at the end of the day, if they're not gonna reach out back to me or whatever they decide to do, that's gonna be on their conscience, which is why I believe that everything will happen for a reason. And it will be the way it's supposed to be, and I have no control of that. I will reach out. I will try to rectify the situation. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, if they decide whatever they decide to do will be on their conscience and not mine.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's kind of like a good way to kind of view it, I would imagine. Just kind of like, I guess for lack of a better word, like karma in a sense.
Yeah, and I believe like I'm not a person who believes in doing a wrongdoing to someone just because they wronged me.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna get revenge. I'm not gonna slander their name, but I will know, okay, going on, maybe we're just not going to work together, or from here on out, I'll be able to hold a standard to other photographers that maybe I didn't hold to you.
Mm-hmm.
and figure out that way.
No, yeah, it makes sense. So, you know, going back to the pageant side of things, because again, like that's kind of like your bread and butter. Can you tell
Right.
me about like a pageant experience that you had? Like, have you been out of the city of El Paso? Where have you gone with this?
I have. So when I had won my Texas title for Earth, I went directly into nationals 3 months later. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a very quick preparation of interview, walk, getting all my outfits ready, making sure I know where I'm going, what times I'm going, kind of my schedule.
Yeah.
And we went to Orlando, Florida, which was an amazing experience. My family had gone up with me, and we actually had gone to Disney World and Universal Orlando. 2 weeks. We were there for about 2 weeks after the pageant had concluded, which was an amazing experience. And the pageant itself, I mean, it was my first ever national pageant. So I had won Texas as the second pageant I had ever done in my life.
See, there we go. That's crazy, you
And
know? Awesome
yes,
blessings.
so then I had gone to the national pageant and actually won a national title,
Mm-hmm.
which, although it wasn't first place, it was part of the five. So in the Earth system, there is Teen Miss Earth USA, and then her elemental court, which is four
Interesting.
others who made finals. And I'm part of her court. So anytime she is unavailable or any type of support she may need,
Mm-hmm.
we're always there for her.
Gotcha, gotcha. To kind of like fill in a sense.
Right. Right.
Interesting.
And which is it's a great outlook on things as well, because Miss Teen New Mexico is actually who won, and she lives not too far from me. So anytime we go to cleanups or there's something going on, we usually see each other pretty often.
And was there
And
ever
it's a
like a
great,
sense of like jealousy or pushback from other models in the community or the pageants, given like how quickly you were succeeding?
not from, not directly to me. I'm not sure of anything behind the scenes, but so far the people I've met have been very gracious and able to teach me things or just have my back and push me along, even in the times where I felt at my least. For example, also at the national pageant, I remember when top five was announced, which that means each of us had gotten at least a national title.
Mm-hmm.
We had all went backstage, hugged each other, and actually said a little prayer together, and was like, no matter what, like, all of us are winners. And it was a surreal experience seeing how much we really supported each other, no matter who got first place or who has what title in what order. We all felt accomplished and very happy for each other. And it really brought all of us to tears. And it was such a surreal experience.
Oh yeah, you know, I'm kind of just amazed. Like, it truly sounds like, you know, as corny as this may sound, that you are like kind of divinely protected in like your modeling and everything that you kind of put your foot towards. Because I mean, you're having the success, you know, you're having the sense of community, you're getting the love, you know, from your peers and stuff like that. That's kind of rare nowadays, you know.
I've really been blessed with everything I have. Like I said, it was a lot of networking, honestly. I was able to meet so many amazing people who have my back now, whether it's photographers, other models, and it's been, I really do feel blessed with that. Because then also I'm able to transfer it to the kids I teach in martial arts. They always ask me, they're looking at my pictures on their mom's Instagrams, and they have told me how much of it, like, they think I'm a queen and princess and all of these things. And it's made me feel so good to be able to share that with them. Because a lot of the time in martial arts, little girls will feel like, oh, this is a boy sport. Like, if we do
Mm-hmm.
this, we're not girls anymore. Like, we can't be feminine.
Right.
And I've been able to show them that you can have the best of both worlds. You can do martial arts, get punched in the face in the afternoon, and still, if you want to do a pageant, if you want to do modeling, if you want to just really feel feminine in any way that you choose to, it's possible. And you don't have to choose one or the other. And it's such a great lesson that I've been able to teach them.
No, that's just amazing all around. And you know, before we close out here, let's talk about your martial arts for a little bit. How did you start
Yeah.
teaching?
So my uncle owns a dojo that I teach at right now, and he had pushed me into martial arts as soon as he could, really.
Mhm.
And as soon as I turned 14, I had that's when my mental health had really taken a toll from my personal life. And he had brought me to a kids class with the younger kiddos who really just see the bright side of things
Right.
all the time and are super energetic all the time. So anytime I was having a bad day, he would bring me to that class, teach the kiddos, and remind me that sometimes these things are bigger than you, but that doesn't mean you can't be happy. It doesn't mean you can't find joy in little things. And ever since then, I've just been teaching, and it's been an amazing experience. It's been one of the highlights of my day, even on the days where maybe they can get a little rowdy,
For
but
sure.
it's still one of the highlights of my day.
No, that's just awesome to hear all around. And so, as we reach the end here, is there anything that you want to bring up? Anything you want to say to the audience? Anything you want to promote?
Just that I'll actually promote my platform that your mental health, no matter if it's the way you take care of your earth or just the people you surround yourself with, it matters and you matter. So do what makes you happy. Honestly, surround yourself with those who make you happy and will build you up, not break you down. Because at the end of the day, that is what will help you in the long run.
There you go. That's spoken like a true pageant queen to me. It's a real nice message. But all right, we've reached the end
Yes.
here. My name is DB. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another episode of the Desiertalks. I'm joined here by...
Nevaeh Gagnon, your pageant queen and martial arts coach.
Hell yeah. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Adios. Bye-bye.